Okay, take two because I fucked up. It's warming, and then the K. Alright, here we go. First, warming isn't caused by humans. Prefer our evidence indicates that only 5% is caused by humans, while the rest is natural, such as water vapors. Takes out solvency and makes his Arctic trade routes argument inevitably. He also says that the impact is natural disasters and extinction. Doesn't answer the examples of tsunami, Katrina, everyday tornadoes not causing extinction. Just makes a blatant assertion. And no scientific consensus. Majority of scientists say no warming in American policy center 8. Almost 500 scientists from around the world signed the appeal dire treaties based on global warming today. That figure has grown over 4,000. Gallup poll of eminent climatologists showed that 83% of them debunk global warming. Global warming is the greatest hoax ever perpetuated on the people of the world, bar none, and unilateral action can't solve environmental defense. And 7. Climate battle cannot be won without China, India, and Russia, as well as the rainforest nations, where deforestation currently accounts for 20% global emissions. The K. No parameters or theory on the K is a really bad idea. It just comes out of the question of all solvency and the direction of the impact. It's a pretty easy win-link debate. White evidence says that our focus on preserving economic competitiveness is one that is rooted in notions of American exceptionalism and genocide. This leads to more violence. That clearly does this by attempting to preserve the system of staying at the top of the economic game with competitiveness, internal links on advantage 3 and impact debate. No impact turns on the case is a pretty bad idea as well. We don't allow it in the winning or on the offense. Says that cap is good, but we'll answer that in a second. First, extend the Batar evidence there. And citizens on exceptionalism creates racial hierarchies which perpetuate violence. Internally turns our China advantage. When we create these hierarchies, this is the real reason that they attempt to hedge against us cause violence, because we make them feel like lesser people, which causes backlash. That's also proven by the anti-American sentiments in the Middle East. Means that it is also try to die for the all, because it's the only thing that creates a epistemic departure from the quo by changing our perception and utilization of economics. And his answer is that racism is inevitable. However, that's a terrible argument. Just because something happens doesn't mean that you shouldn't fight against it. Also, it's only defense anyway. Further, if we win that racism is a product of neoliberal capitalism, it also means that if we win the alt solves it. It also means that racism is reversible. And our racism impact, the prior question to your impact, the impact is Extinction Part 91. Prison racism confines all shackles the victimized as well as the victim, and the effects of uncontrolled power privilege will inevitably destroy us as well. Walls of racism could be dismantled brick by brick, stone by stone. Cultural racism could be destroyed. The overconsumption, environmental destruction may be reaching a point of no return. The results of centuries of national and worldwide conquest and of colonialism and military buildups and violent aggression. It's time to tear down the walls of racism for the sake of the world. We dare not allow it to continue, and we're ahead on magnitude. Militaristic interventions conducted on behalf of U.S. economic imperialism culminated extinction of Mazaros and 3. Dangers caused by militaristic interventions are obvious enough. They show an even greater intensification and even a ever-increasing scale of potential annihilation of humankind. The objective world domination by capital's most powerful state, with its political design of ruthless authoritarianism, globalization dressed up as free exchange and U.S.-ruled global market is ultimately unwinnable, foreshadowing the destruction of humankind, aggressively imposing the will of one powerful national state over all of the others, absurdly camouflaged as purely limited war, leading to other open-ended limited wars for the weapons available are capable of exterminating the whole of humanity. And K turns case versus both China scenarios. Neoliberalization leads to widespread instability on China's single greatest factor. So intent. In response to neoliberal practice, the Chinese working class has become restless and increasing collective action. 900% government identified the labor problem as the biggest threat to social and political stability. So-called New Left dissatisfied with growing socioeconomic class inequalities. When neoliberal forms were deepening, protests and demonstrations become more widespread, and crisis management gets Chinese hardliners in power most of 2011. Cracks emerging in the country's economic edifice and indicators of government whose present policies are starting to unravel. Officials contend their hardliners here to the line that a little listening and a lot of force produces proper results. Crisis management is simply an excuse for hardliners to hold until Gentile steps down next year. They see the roots of unrest and worry about performance, and hardliner take over causes brinkmanship, results of war in the South China Sea, Metcalf, and 11. Brinksmanship is emerging in maritime Asia. Unchecked could throw the region crisis could end in war. Big security picture in Asia involves a change in deterrence and warfighting strategies by China and the U.S. and Japan. Nationalism, growing resource needs are reinforcing the value of territorial claims, short-sighted and internal rivalries compel the risk of conflict. China generals are becoming a force in foreign policy and extinction. Chong and 2K. Cross-strait war escalated. Full-scale violence between U.S. and China would umbrella the country, raises the possibility of nuclear war. China would be set on fire. Opportunistic powers may try to overturn the existing world order. Little hope of winning war against China short use of nuclear weapons. Beijing also seems prepared to go to the nuclear option. We would see the destruction of civilization. Second is econ. Turns the AF. Even if the plan brings short-term gains, its economic framework makes the economy unstable and inevitably gives rise to competitors' specter intent. As the national economy relies on bacon less on domestic industrial production, vulnerability, economic instability increases high rates of profit are accompanied by more unstable variables associated with becoming so dependent on overseas investment lays the basis for rising capitalist groups in other countries will eventually run their own industries and compete with that of the advanced capitalist countries. Its prosperity based on data. If that data is pulled back and lead to higher interest rates to slow down the economy or even serious economic depression, the so-called boom economy of late capitalism, neoliberal globalization, imperialism brings lots of quick cash while laying the basis for serious problems for the rest of the world. And this evidence also internally turns the macro-industrial scenario because it displays how the long-term effects of the economy would be ruined, which means that the economy would never get to the point that we would be able to develop the technology necessary to get to space. Also internally turns air power because it means in the future we would return to the economic downturn, which would destroy the F-35 program. Finally, it probably takes out sovereignty as well because in the long term, the U.S. wouldn't be able to afford expansion of high-speed rail because they would return economic downturn due to increased competition from other countries. And the 1AR may say that this contradicts DDEV. Not true. It's consistent with DDEV because the evidence calls for deglobalization of the economy. That's the same claim as our Lewis evidence on DDEV. Also, both the all and DDEV call for reforms in the economy, which means that degrowth is probably a good thing, and both worlds out the alternative debate. Gibson-Graham evidence indicates the only way to avoid the impacts of the reject epistemic assumptions such as the affirmative depoliticize our notions of the economy. This means we wouldn't use the economy as a mechanism to purport our American system is one that is supposed to control the world. This opens space for micropolitical movements which results in a departure from the evils that surround capitalocentrism. And they also have the case rejecting is key. The institutions that propagate the ideological hegemony underlying globalization are still founded at the national level. Challenging these are key to disrupting the broader structure of power, white and center. Possibility ideological hegemony involves dominant social groups making a bid to have a view of the world, gain widespread acceptance. They become common sense. They aim ruling groups to establish their ideas, no matter how flawed, as an accurate view of the world. Those who describe the current period of era globalization, ideological hegemony remains a process that requires understanding the extent to which the nation state is starting point and the point of departure, understanding how hegemony operates internationally. The struggle for hegemony is a process of political rule located at level of national state. Now to captivate. First is the inevitability debate. First, their legacy evidence doesn't indicate anything about how capitalism is inevitable. It just says that everyone wants growth. This evidence is also bad because its claim is too broad by focusing on the micropolitical level. It ignores many movements, including Occupy Wall Street, neo-Marxists who call for capitalism. Then there's probably a better answer, DDEV and the K, but we'll answer it on that other flow. Second, the transition is inevitable. The underpinnings of capitalism are collapsing water side in 11. World has been in economic trouble. All systems have lives when their processes are too far from equilibrium and they fluctuate chaotically. Our existing system to move further from equilibrium. Democratization of the world has led to demands for more. To meet these demands, there have been significant increase in taxation, all kinds of these. Costs have risen beyond the point that permits serious capital accumulation. The present system cannot continue. The fundamental political struggle is over what kind of system will replace capitalism, not whether it should survive. Our recent difficulties merely the next last in a bubble of boom and bust. We develop our economies in whatever way we can. Next, they say cap is good. They read this Rockwell card, which is littered with problems. First is that there's no truth to the evidence. It says that cap has solved things like poverty and disease, but ignores the fact that poverty covers an entire continent, this place called Africa, and that disease is an all-time high with the onslaught of cancer, malaria, and a host of other diseases. The second problem is that it probably doesn't even agree with the affluent. The evidence says the free market is super awesome. Also says the problem lies with the state, which means that the AF is the only one that utilizes the state. All that thus gives uniqueness to all. I guess cross X.